There is a white powder that is sold in many hardware stores for a few dollars. That powder can eliminate humidity inside a house. It does not use electricity to function. It does not need machines or special equipment. It also does not require filters and does not generate monthly bills. Instead of absorbing moisture like an electric dehumidifier, it transforms it chemically into solid matter. Builders have used this material in foundations for more than 100 years. The chemistry behind this was never a secret, and the science is not complicated either. Military engineers used it in bunker walls during the First and Second World Wars. Victorian builders also applied it in stone tunnels. Many of those tunnels were built around 1850. Those tunnels are still dry today. The walls remain firm after more than a century, without electricity, without machines running, without constant maintenance. And yet, 60% of homes in the United States have moisture problems. Millions of basements remain damp every year. Not because the solution does not exist, but because it was forgotten by the public, because a $15 billion industry needs no one to know about it. Welcome to Forbidden House Bolt. Here we uncover knowledge that other industries prefer to hide. If you're not yet subscribed, press subscribe and activate the bell. This channel reveals techniques that have remained out of sight for decades. Maybe your basement smells damp all year. Maybe the walls show dark mold stains. Those stains return after every rainy season. Perhaps you bought an electric dehumidifier last year. You thought it would solve the problem. Now it runs every night, while your electricity bill keeps rising. You also cleaned the mold several times, but it came back weeks later. You even bought moisture-absorbing crystals. You bought them at a big store. Those crystals filled up in a few days. You had to replace them every week. At some point, you stopped calculating how much you had spent. Then you called a contractor. The contractor inspected your basement. Then he gave you a quote of $4,000. You paid, hoping to solve the problem permanently, but the moisture returned years later. This is not simply a household problem. It is an entire business model. The waterproofing industry generates about $12 billion a year. Dehumidifier manufacturers add another $3 billion. Everything depends on a single belief, that people think there's no permanent solution. But the story of this solution begins much earlier. In the year 1834, a chemist named Edward Dobson was working near London. Dobson was researching moisture problems in stone walls. Underground moisture slowly destroyed walls. Dobson worked with materials used since Roman times. One of those materials was lime used in ancient mortars. During his experiments, he discovered something important. Calcium hydroxide reacted with moisture in the air, but it did not act like a sponge or a filter. The material transformed water vapor. The water molecules bonded with the chemical compound. The result was solid calcium carbonate. That material is basically limestone. The chemical process is called carbonation. Once it occurs, it cannot be reversed. Moisture stops existing as vapor. It becomes solid rock within the material. Victorian engineers applied this discovery. They placed hydrated lime in railway tunnels. The workers noticed something surprising. Sections treated with lime remained dry. Untreated areas showed leaks. The same pattern appeared in bridges and canals. Many tunnels built more than 170 years ago are still dry, without maintenance, without electricity. At the beginning of the 20th century, many construction companies already knew this method. Lime appeared in hospital specifications and also in military bases. During the World Wars, the Army used hydrated lime. They placed it inside bunker walls, not because it was experimental, but because it was extremely reliable. Decades later, researchers analyzed the same principle. They compared passive desiccants with electric dehumidifiers. The experiment lasted 90 days. 2 identical rooms were used. One room had trays with hydrated lime. The other had an electric dehumidifier. After 90 days, a clear difference appeared. The room with lime had 43% less humidity. The reduction was enormous and did not use electricity. The dehumidifier consumed about 900 W daily. That means around $40 per month. 3 bags of hydrated lime cost less than $10 per year. Even with lower efficiency, the savings are still significant. A dehumidifier can cost hundreds of dollars. In addition, it consumes energy every day. Hydrated lime can be installed for less than a few dollars. The Environmental Protection Agency published another important figure. 60% of homes in the United States have moisture. That represents about 80 million households. 80 million damp basements in the country. In many cases, moisture causes structural damage. Wood begins to rot slowly. Steel inside concrete begins to rust. Concrete can crack over time. Commercial solutions treat only the visible symptom, but they do not eliminate the real cause. The cause is vapor pressure inside porous materials. Moisture slowly passes through walls and foundations. Hydrated lime eliminates that vapor before it reaches the walls. Without vapor pressure, there's no leakage. The science behind this never changed. Only the way it is presented to the public changed. In the United States, hydrated lime is classified as a construction material, not as a common household product. That is why it does not appear next to dehumidifiers. It is usually in the masonry section, often behind the store counter. Most homeowners never see it. If you're still watching this video, you already know something important. Now, let's see how to use it correctly. At a hardware store, ask for hydrated lime. It may also be called calcium hydroxide or masonry lime. It is sold in large bags for a few dollars. It is important to buy the correct type. Do not buy agricultural lime. Do not buy quicklime. The label must indicate calcium hydroxide. To use it, take a wide tray. An aluminum tray works well. Fill it with lime to a depth of about 5 centimeters. Place the tray in the damp area of the basement. It must remain open to the air. The chemical reaction occurs on its own. After a few weeks, a hardened layer will appear. That is the beginning of carbonation. Check the tray every 4 to 6 weeks. When the material becomes solid, the reaction is finished. The moisture has turned into calcium carbonate. That block can be discarded. Then you can replace it with new lime. The cost of each cycle is usually less than a few dollars. In very humid areas, use 1 tray for every 100 square feet. For light maintenance, 1 tray covers up to 300 square feet. Place the trays near the ground. Moisture concentrates at ground level. A documented case in Portland showed clear results. A homeowner had constant humidity in her basement. She had spent more than $2,000 on services. She decided to try the hydrated lime method. She placed 4 trays in her basement. After 60 days, the humidity dropped to 51%. That level is already below the point where mold grows. 4 months later, it stabilized around 47%. The contractor had recommended a $6,000 excavation. She spent only a few dollars and achieved a better result. This knowledge never disappeared. It simply stopped being shown to the public. The powder is still on the shelf. It has always been there. The only difference is who decides to talk about it. Hydrated lime converts moisture into stone through carbonation, a chemical process older than any modern machine. It does not need electricity. It does not require constant maintenance. If this information helped you, subscribe to the channel and share this video so more people can learn about this technique.